You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Happy holidays, guys. First of all, shout out to all of you that have been hitting me up and telling me that you've been listening to the podcast and catching up on all the episodes. I appreciate that because at first I was like, I'm not going to really put a lot of stuff into the podcast. I used to, when we first started doing this a few years ago, the podcast version, I would do literal separate episodes. And we still do that, of course, for those that are avid podcast listeners. But a lot of you kept on saying that you want to hear more of what you hear on the YouTube channel. You want to hear it here because it's just easier. You listen to it on your journeys, on your commute, long drives. I appreciate that. So for the holidays this week, I'm giving you a nice jam-packed Hot Topics episode because there are quite a few different stories that happened over the holidays. So I'm going to put them all together here with trimming the fat. So not everything is in here. But if you're a Club Kempire member, and if you're listening to this on Spotify, Club Kempire is the paid Apple Podcast subscription. Shout out to our Club Kempire baddies. Shameless plug. But I say that because the last couple of episodes, I've been spilling a whole lot of tea. I spilled tea about Nene. I spilled tea about Cookie from Real Housewives of Potomac. And some other stuff. Oh, some Peter Thomas tea I spilled, because when you listen to this episode, you'll hear about the Peter Thomas of it all. But I spilled some Peter Thomas tea there as well. So this is your opportunity to head on over to the Apple Podcast, either on the app or via the website if you don't have an Apple product, and you can hear some of the tea that I spilled. But one of the things in regards to the Peter of it all that I spilled was the fact that there were certain people that liked my post. For the Club Kempire baddies, I have to give you an update on that because someone else liked the post. Peter Thomas's own daughter. And she randomly followed me. But for those that don't know the context, Peter's daughter is actually really good friends with Cynthia. They're like best friends, and she's been on their podcast. So I wasn't completely shocked. Wait, I think I did tell you guys that. But not only that, that wasn't the only person that liked it. Mal liked it. Mal, Cynthia's sister. And also Leon, Cynthia's baby's father. Yes, Leon the actor. He also liked the post too. Go listen to that episode, hear all the tea that's spilled, but take a listen to this Hot Topics roundup for the holidays, just some of the hot topics that played out this week alone, not the hot topics of the year. I need to work on that episode. So stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed, and make sure that you give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify because those things matter. The more you share, the more you review, I will start to show up and be discovered by other podcast listeners. All of it matters. Thanks in advance. So it looks like Stacey has a reaction in response to all of the hate that she's been getting from her fellow castmates and says that she even had proof that she was willing to show them that the time and place when she was working on her cannabis line. She also has some other snarky things to say. We're going to get into that. But Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kelly Farrell's husband is back in jail for not paying child support. And Sharice Jackson Jordan is now calling out Ashley Darby for being disrespectful for sleeping with her son. Let's talk about this. So before we even get into Real Housewives of Potomac and what's going on over there, Kelly Farrell's husband is back in jail. You may have seen, I've seen so many different stories about this back and forth divorce that's happening between Kelly. They're already divorced. But the drama that continues to play out in regards to their child custody situation. I'll tell you this. I am not interested in another housewife and their divorce drama. I don't know about you. And this is no offense to you, Kelly. I'm just not interested in seeing this play out next season. I'm not interested in another man on one of these shows that is so desperate for the attention or just is not doing what they're supposed to do as a husband. I'm not interested. I feel like it's oversaturated at this particular point. Well, this is what we have from our friends over at Us Weekly in their exclusive, because apparently he has been arrested again. Her ex-husband has been arrested again, apparently for not paying child support. This is a shady title, though, Us Weekly. They said this. RHOA star Kelly Farrell's husband jailed over child support after Phaedra Parks takes on case. Oh, okay. Phaedra's like, how I get in it? So Kelly Farrell's ex-husband, Mark Farrell, was thrown in jail for allegedly failing to pay child support months after the Real Housewives of Atlanta star hired her co-star, Phaedra Parks, to be her attorney. On Monday, December 22nd, a hearing was held as a part of Kelly's lawsuit against Mark over the unpaid child support obligations. Kelly and Mark, who were married from 2011 to 2022, share 3 minor children, Chance born in 2012, and twins, Chastity and Chelsea, born in 2015. At the hearing, the judge determined that Mark was in contempt of court for being in arrears to the tune of $61,992. That's a lot of money. The judge found that Mark's failure to pay was willful. The court ordered Mark to be taken into custody until he pays at least $31,000 of the debt. Following his release, Mark was instructed to pay $1,000 per month to Kelly until the rest of the balance is paid off. In addition, he was ordered to continue paying $3,991 per month in child support. When you think about it, though, for 3 children, that really isn't a lot. Especially if you want them to have certain things, go to private schools, and not to say that you have to, but I'm just thinking. So Mark's rep said that their client had, quote, identified and offered immediate access to $74,000 in escrowed funds from the sale of his home to satisfy the obligation in full. Mark has never refused to pay child support. So what happened here, sir? They're saying, the judge is saying that you were willful in not paying it. The rep continued, on the contrary, because remember, he also held that press conference. Mark held the press conference on the stairs of, I forgot where he was, and said that he was going to sue Bravo and he was going to sue the judicial powers that handled his divorce. So he's not that bright either. It says, on the contrary, he has made repeated documented efforts to do so. Why would they arrest you in court? On 2 separate occasions, Mr. Farrell submitted partial child support payments in good faith. In both instances, Kelly and her attorneys rejected the payments and returned the funds, explicitly stating that no payment would be accepted unless the full amount was paid at once. Did the judge see this? Mark's spokesperson said that he offered Kelly the $74,000 from the sale of a home that is being held in escrow at the court. A hearing was set to resolve the issue of the funds in the escrow account. Despite a January 8th hearing already scheduled specifically to resolve the escrow issue, the court ordered Mark's immediate incarceration 3 days before Christmas, the rep said. Notably, during the proceedings, Kelly Farrell declined to explain why her legal team was repeatedly refused to cooperate in releasing the escrow funds, even as she satisfied the financial hardship and need. Today, as the father sits in jail, not because he refused to support his children, but because the path to payment was blocked, the rep concluded. So they're claiming that they've tried to make these payments, but Kelly and her attorneys have refused them. That sounds suspicious to me. It sounds like whatever you're trying to pay them, maybe it would be hard for them to actually get the funds. I would want to wait to hear what they have to say. Because we have to also keep in mind the judge also reviewed all of this, and I'm sure your attorneys presented all of these details to them as well. As Us first reported, Kelly and Mark have been going back and forth in court ever since their split. On October 2nd, Kelly hired her co-star, Phaedra Parks, to file a lawsuit against Mark for attempting to block their children from filming RHOA. As a mother, my children are a significant portion of my storyline. As such, I consented to their participation in The Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 17, Kelly explained in court docs. At the time, Mark's lawyer, LaToya Francis Williams, told Us Weekly, and as their father, he has every right to protect his children's privacy and emotional well-being. Look, I will never debate whether or not children should be on a reality TV show if a parent is objecting to it. But what we also know in divorces like these, people in the relationship will sometimes weaponize their power when it comes to children against their partner. And based on what we've seen with Mark and Kelly's divorce, it feels like you're trying to weaponize this. But we shall see. Kelly's rep told Us Weekly Kelly finds the claims in her ex's recent filings both surprising and inaccurate. At no point has she prevented him from seeing their children, and that she has consistently complied with court orders while prioritizing their best interests. And I'm sure we're going to see this all play out on the new season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. You guys let me know in the comment section if you're overseeing not necessarily Kelly's divorce, but every divorce that we've seen, which I feel like we've been bombarded with so many divorces and so many child support issues. And then all this is playing out in the media. I'm sort of like tired of it. But that's me. Let's move on to some other things, some other related news before we get to the Stacey of it all. Charisse Jackson Jordan, who's an OG of the Real Housewives of Potomac. We talked about this yesterday in regards to why Charisse seemed to be completely okay with Ashley hooking up with her son. Ashley at the time told Charisse it was just a smooch. She then said it was more than a smooch and it was more than one time. On Watch What Happens Live, she said that. Okay? Well, now it seems as if Charisse is changing her tune and co-signing that she felt like, what Ashley did was disrespectful. So Charisse said this in the comment section on social media. She says, I honestly didn't believe it. One thing I know for sure is that no matter how I respond, people will take issue. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. She says, I have not been edited to represent my real personality over the years. At this point, I am 60 and just want to pop in and have fun with a group of ladies. I don't mind meaningful conversations, but to flip out just for cameras over fake or petty issues is not my thing. You, of all people, should know, even if you decide to jump in and just be a part of different scenes, that they can manipulate that and utilize that and weaponize you in a way that you probably did not expect. So I'm not going to sit here and act as if, Charisse, you're some innocent person that was blindsided by editing and production. Okay? So Tara Lynn said in the comment section, and she added Charisse, and she said, I totally understand your point of view. And you're right. No matter what, we do enjoy seeing you from time to time. Well, some people don't. I'm not saying that I don't. I mean, if she's going to offer something. Remember the last time that we saw Charisse on the show and she was a friend of? It was Giselle weaponizing Charisse to come after Karen. And I was like, okay, this is just so pitiful. This is why people give Charisse the accusations that she'll do anything to be on this show. So she says, I totally understand your point of view, and you're right. No matter what, we do enjoy seeing you from time to time, regardless whether or not it happened. Her even suggesting it did on camera, in my opinion, was a way to embarrass you. Ashley, she's referring to. She says, I have a 24-year-old son, and if someone said something like that to me, I would find it highly disrespectful. She's not your friend, but I'm assuming you already know that. Heart emoji. And the other thing that we didn't talk about during our recap yesterday was the fact that if the tables were turned, let's say if it was one of the husbands or ex-husbands that ended up smooching or hooking up with one of their daughters, all right, they do have Giselle has an age-appropriate, I'm just going to say, let's say legal age daughter. Well, no, now technically she's got 3 because all 3 of them are in college. But let's just go with Grace. I don't even want to picture it. But what if Michael Darby decided he wanted to date Grace and hook up with Grace?
Hell no.
How would everyone feel about that? Because one of the comments that I've seen is like, well, they're both age appropriate. It doesn't matter. I get that. I don't think that's the part that bothers people. It's the predatory behavior behind this. You've seen this guy grow up. And yes, he made the first move, but you could also stop someone like, I don't think we should do this. And it wasn't even the one time. And it's also what I've been saying about Ashley this season. I'm like, you know what? The more and more I see Ashley, the more and more I understand what she shared with Michael Darby, what made them connect. I just felt like they're both cringy. They're both predatory. And this situation with Jackson, for me, was just confirmation of that. But that's me. So Charisse responds to Tara Lynn and says, you make a valid point. I can see the disrespect now. She says, at the time of filming, I didn't believe it. One thing I do know for certain is that there is no real friendships in this business. So it sounds like she's feeling a way about what Ashley said and did, and especially probably what she saw on Watch What Happens Live. So the other storyline that has gotten people really annoyed with Ashley and Giselle this season is the way that Stacey Rusch has been treated this season on Real Housewives of Potomac. Well, Stacey sat down with Carlos and did an interview. So we're not going to go through the entire interview. I'm just going to play for you some of the highlights. And shout out to our friends over at The Girls Are Fighting on Instagram, but also our friends over at No Chaser TV. I'll be playing clips from them. So let me just play this first clip in regards to Stacey says that Giselle Bryant is pretty and petty, names Ashley Darby and Kiarna Stewart as her biggest haters.
That is the case. You know, you tend to hate on the qualities you wish you had.
Who do you think is your biggest hater on the show?
Definitely Ashley and Kay. Ashley is, and I feel differently about both women. With Ashley, it's expected. I've said that many times. So my expectations are very low because, you know, you got to recognize the devil, but don't let the devil change you.
Boom. That's a word, Stacey. You got to recognize the devil, but don't let the devil change you.
I know what I'm working with Ashley. Now with Kay, I just didn't understand what was the problem. I just have never had someone.
We still are trying to understand what the problem is between Stacey and Kay. There really should not be. I think Kiarna is just reaching for some sort of issue this season with everyone and everything.
And have such a visceral, aggressive, negative reaction to me, and I've never done anything to them. It was bizarre.
And calling her out her name, both of them, Ashley and Kiarna, calling her out her name. And I'm just like, damn, like, what did she do to you guys specifically? Not what she's done to other people that you're alleging. What has she done to you and your family?
And a little unhinged, quite honestly.
Is it Tiffany's or CBS?
I wish it was Tiffany. That would have made it better.
And you said, I have a husband. Something you don't. I have a ring. Something you do not. When it comes to Kay's relationship with Greg, do you think Greg will ever put a ring on it?
I don't know. And I think that I've been married for many years, divorced and back together with my ex-husband. So I know a thing or two about love. You want your partner to want you.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Carlos.
Yep.
Okay.
No follow-up?
Wow.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay. The earlier.
She's the same person that she is right now.
Which is what?
Pretty and petty.
What
What has changed in 10 years? She's the same person.
You don't think Giselle has grown in 10 years being on the show?
No, because it's allowed. Clearly.
I mean, she's not lying.
Is Giselle needed for a Potomac?
Yes, of course.
I don't agree with that. I really don't. I think people give Giselle, I'm not going to take away from what Giselle has offered over the last 10 years, but I think the show could go on without Giselle. All right. There were more clips that I wanted to play for you guys in regards to what she had to say in this interview with Carlos. As always, we cite our sources, so be sure to check out the full interview on Carlos's podcast and on his YouTube channel. Let me play for you another clip from this interview. So in regards to the cannabis line.
Would you say of all the girls on the cast, you're the closest to her?
Yes.
Wendy.
I'm definitely the closest to Wendy right now. Yes.
When it comes to your cannabis line.
Yes.
I mean, Stacey, you did say last season you weren't doing it, and come to find out you are.
I wasn't doing it when it was asked of me.
Stacey! You had no conversations about it.
This is the part that and again, she's going to answer the way that I've been saying it too. I understand if she was working on a cannabis line, why she would not mention it during the reunion. If the contract has not been signed, you're not going to say it on national television.
Listen,
I'm listening.
Carlos, you of all people know
Yes.
that when we are talking about deals and contracts and money, you don't talk about things until they are a thing. So when I talked about my brand was when I needed to talk about it. And I don't care who asks me about it or who challenges me or who tries to one-up me or be premature and announce something. I really don't care. You got to play chess, baby. Are you kidding me? I announced it when it launched because that's when it launched. Facts. You can't argue that.
I can't argue that. And listen.
And I have offered to show Wendy contracts, dates, conversations to prove that I did not have my brand. It was not formed when we shot the reunion in New York in January of last year. I've offered it to the girls. I've offered it to Wendy. Nobody wants to see it. Of course they don't.
Of course they don't. But based off if you've been watching the new season of Real Housewives of Potomac, you see that they've been itching and scratching to find an issue. And every single thing, no matter how you feel about Stacey, and do I believe that Stacey has, lied and did things? Yes, I do. However, you could see the desperation that they've been having this season to catch her in something, and they keep failing. And I'm happy for her that they keep failing. All right, let me see what else is said here. So, and then, in regards to her relationship with Kiarna,
I saw something the other day, and she was saying, I think it was it Watch What Happens Live? Maybe it was Watch What Happens Live on Sunday.
It was.
And she was saying that she thinks I'm performative. I think I'm reactive.
I do find it interesting because I don't remember exactly the words that Kiarna used, but if she used the word performative, Kiarna, and your relationship with Greg has been so performative this season, including the picture frame that you got gifted.
Come for me over and over again because you thought I was an easy target. And I've answered you to your face and in confessionals. Okay? Don't be mad because I'm doing me better than you're doing you.
Okay. As I watched a few episodes ago, and it's this meme that's gone across the world where, Kay and you are having a one-off, and she says that you're jealous of her, and you said, girl of what? And she goes, my life, my things, my condo, my bed, my everything. What do you have?
My picture frame.
Is it Tiffany's or CBS?
I wish it was Tiffany. That would have made it better.
And you said, I have a husband, something you don't. I have a ring, something you do not. When it comes to Kay's relationship with Greg, do you think Greg will ever put a ring on it?
I don't know. And I think that I've been married for many years.
This makes me wonder. So he doesn't propose at all this season? Lord have mercy. He doesn't propose at all this season? So the picture frame is where we're going to leave it this season?
Divorced and back together with my ex-husband. So I know a thing or two about love. You want your partner to want you.
Mm. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay.
All right. Then I see this. Kiarna, shout out to our friends over at No Chaser TV. I love the fact that they gather some of the things I can't keep up with because I'm not following any of these people. So Kiarna apparently is recommending picture frames for holiday gift ideas. Oh, Lord.
Hey guys, so I'm kicking off my holiday shopping season. I'm at Neiman Marcus and I stopped past one of my favorite sections, Michael Aram. If you guys are looking for some great gifts for your family and loved ones, make sure that you get you a Michael Aram photo frame. So classy, so beautiful.
Girl, this just gets worse and worse. I don't think she thinks it's landing the way that she thinks it's landing. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Poor thing. Poor thing. I want better for you. I do, but I can't want better for you than you want for yourself. Good luck to her. Mazel tov. Again, guys, you can see and hear the full interview with Stacey Rusch on Carlos King's podcast. All right. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that we've discussed so far in the comments section. Happy holidays, guys. Peter Thomas has a message for his ex-wife, Real Housewives of Atlanta star Cynthia Bailey. He says, Cynthia ain't ish. So let's talk about Peter Thomas. So as you know, Peter Thomas is in jail. Not actually, correction. He's in prison. Yes, at his big age is in prison and is speaking from the prison talking about Cynthia Bailey. And if you've been following the channel, it was just this year that I said, Peter, shut up. Because I forgot what exactly he said the last time, but it was a little shady and snarky towards Cynthia. Hence, Cynthia, right before that, had been asked, because, you know, people always are going to ask about her relationship with Peter because it was such an integral part of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And she is always so gracious to Peter. And I said that back then, only to fast forward during the holidays. Peter is doing interviews. He did an interview with Michelle A.T.L.E. and Brown and was addressing the most recent situation that happened. You remember those two women on the We in Miami podcast arguing over Peter, and we found that Peter bought her a car? So why are you worried about Cynthia doing anything for you? You have these two women fighting over you on a podcast, these two young women fighting over you.
She was telling me about her talking to him. So,
Okay.
How's that possible, though, if he's in jail?
Well, maybe he called her from jail. I don't know.
You know they get messy when they behind the bars.
She blows up my phone every day. You know,
So
literally, they must have been like a virtual relationship or something.
No, because they literally went to his restaurant in Baltimore.
That was before I was even in his life. Because last April when I met him, his restaurant was already shut down in Baltimore.
I don't even care, girl. Do your thing.
I don't care
I literally
either.
was just
I'm
trying
just
to figure
saying.
out what it was because I didn't want my cousin to be mad at me for like being on a podcast with a girl that's talking to him, and then I didn't say nothing about it because she been like bragging about him. So
When's the last time she bragged about him?
maybe like a month ago.
oh damn, this was recent. Like,
Ooh, now we getting into it.
We gonna
I know.
have
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying I just find that hard to believe.
how long were you dating Peter?
We've been dating for the last year and a half.
Year and a
Since
half.
April 6th, and we've been together every day since. Currently, like I went to go visit
I
him,
thought you-
and I'll
wow.
be back to
I
visit
get
him on
mad.
Sunday.
If you were to find out he was cheating,
of
you
right
would
now?
you would break up with him.
Bye.
That's so.
Have
That's your
fun with that.
boyfriend. That's crazy.
Have fun with that.
After the podcast, we can
been in
FaceTime
his
her
house
and you'll
for a
talk
whole
to her.
month.
Because I'm just trying to
Call that right now.
Oh, yeah, like, let's figure this out. Like,
What we waiting
let's get to
for?
the bottom of this right now. Hey, Brittany. Hey, how you doing? This is Stunt Lifestyle with the We in Miami podcast. Are you dating Peter? Because I'm with his girlfriend right now.
Are they married?
No, just girlfriend, boyfriend.
Okay, so that means they're both single, correct?
Oh,
I'm not going to give any information out like that, but he's a great friend of mine, so he'll always be a great friend of mine.
did you have intimate relations with him?
This is funny. I don't kiss and tell, baby. That's crazy.
You don't kiss and tell?
She sounds a little bothered. Why she so like bothered?
She gets that old
Here she go. You want to talk to her?
wrinkles.
I'm crying. I mean, I know she ain't me, so that's irrelevant.
man.
Regardless.
Wait, what's your name again? What's your name again, babe?
Alexandra.
Like I was saying, I wasn't trying to be like weird or shady, but it's my cousin.
Stop it. Peter bought me a car for my birthday too.
Hold on.
I
Quiet on
don't give
set.
a about Peter, to be honest with you guys. I don't even know him. He's in jail.
Get on the wheel,
He's in jail. He's in jail.
Listen,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, where the water at? Girl.
all good energy. All good
Fairy
energy.
tale.
Next.
Fairy tale. You're living here in fairy tale.
No, that's
Listen here, man. It's your and my cousin. You guys are sharing.
all right for the next. Good.
You want to
We
keep
good.
standing up for what?
We good.
You don't
we
want to
good.
stand up.
I am standing up.
Talk
Who
about
cares about
some-
Peter? He's in jail. Nobody cares. I didn't care. I was just
Yeah, you're still talking about it.
shut the up.
Make me shut up. Make me shut up.
You have bigger things to be concerned about. But let me remind you why Peter is in jail, because you might have forgotten why Peter's in jail. So I had to remind myself. Peter Thomas, known for his appearances on The Real Housewives of Atlanta and as a hospitality restaurant entrepreneur, pled guilty to federal tax fraud for failing to pay employment payroll taxes for his businesses over several years. From 2017 to 2023, Peter withheld more than $2.5 million in employment taxes from employees' wages, but didn't remit those funds to the IRS. You also may recall some of his former employees over the last couple of years have come out and said, oh, Peter owes me money. Peter didn't pay me. Also, a lot of his bar nuns are now no longer in existence. I don't even think he has any restaurants open anymore. Even the one in Miami is closed. So instead of fulfilling his tax obligations, he reportedly spent substantial money on personal travel and luxury purchases. Does that include buying a car for this young lady that you're now dating? I'm going to put in quotes. He was sentenced on December 19th, 2024 to 18 months, a year and a half in federal prison. He officially reported to prison and began serving this term in 2025. What you may recall from this interview with Michelle A.T. Brown, he's been in prison like 4 or 5 months now. So the court allowed him to begin serving his sentence later in 2025 rather than immediately after sentencing. With an 18-month sentence starting in 2025, he could be released sometime in late 2026 or early 2027, depending on the exact date he started and whether he earns any time off for good behavior. Common in the federal system, often up to 15% reduction. So after he gets out, just reminding Peter, if you see this video, what you are really facing currently. So after he gets out, after he finishes his federal prison term, he will serve 2 years of supervised release, similar to probation. He was also ordered to pay over $2.5 million in restitution to the IRS to cover the unpaid taxes. I don't know how he's going to pay that, but okay. So this isn't a state jail sentence, but federal prison for tax fraud / non-payment of payroll taxes. Federal sentences usually have no parole, but inmates can earn good conduct time, which we've seen before, that can shorten actual time served if they follow the rules. Reminder, because I think for us that just recently rewatched season 6, it's like, oh my gosh, Peter and Cynthia, they were married not too long ago. Reminder, they were married in July 24th of 2010, Cynthia Bailey and Peter Thomas. They separated. They announced their separation in 2016, almost 10 years ago. Divorce was finalized March 2017. Okay? As I said to you before, Cynthia is always asked about Peter, and she's always gracious with Peter. Always. Probably more gracious than she should be. Because there have been so many allegations as to why this relationship didn't work. If you watched our rewind, rewatch, or recap, we were like, damn, there were a lot of red flags with Peter. And this was after they got married. Sidebar, the video that I did last night talking about this story, not Mal liking it. Yes, Mal, you better protect your sister. You were trying to protect your sister years ago. Shout out to Mal. Look, there have been recent interviews within 2025 where she's been asked, but this interview was on Watch What Happens Live about a year ago, and she was asked about Peter.
Actually, we had some one last little business thing that we had to deal with.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like he reached out to me for my birthday as well.
So you made that little last business thing they had to deal with. Do you remember when Cynthia sued Peter? And everyone was like, and some of you might not even remember this. Some of you might not even remember this, but let me on this Sunday, holiday week, remind you why Peter is trash. All right, let me remind you. So why did she sue Peter? So after their marriage ended, Cynthia Bailey filed a lawsuit against Peter Thomas seeking $170,000. The suit was reported as being about money that she said that he owed her, essentially to get back funds she believed belonged to her after their divorce. The lawsuit was covered in entertainment TV talk segments and pop culture reporting when the news surfaced. The legal action wasn't about criminal charges like the tax fraud Peter later pled guilty to. This was a civil financial dispute between ex-spouses. Civil suits between former spouses over money after divorce, especially where business interests or shared finances are involved, aren't uncommon, especially for public figures like those on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. So apparently it was money that she was owed, because you see what she says here just a year ago that they had some business. We didn't end up seeing this getting messy. It seems like they resolved it because Cynthia ended up doing his podcast a year ago as well. Remember that when he tried to do a podcast? She was one of his, if not his first interview. Again, her being gracious. She doesn't have to do anything for Peter. Let me finish what she was saying here. Let me go back.
Actually, we had one last little business thing that we had to deal with.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like he reached out to me for my birthday as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're in a good space.
What did you see him, by the way, on last season of Potomac?
I did.
And what was your take on that?
What were your thoughts? You know what? I was just glad to see him still on television.
Okay.
I was no shade. That was not even shade. Just like, promoting Bar One because,
Right.
I was, the beginning of the whole Bar One journey.
You were.
And just keeping it going. I wish him well. Like I say that and I really honestly mean it.
You see what? I wish him well. Peter, Patricia, and I've never used to like calling him Patricia, but now I am going to call him Patricia going forward. Patricia Thomas. Anyway, Peter is in prison doing an interview and has this to say about he also addresses how these women have been holding him down, and this particular woman comes to visit him. And I'm not going to play that part of the interview for you because I don't even care about that part. Sir, you like it, we love it for you, we don't care. This is what Peter had to say about Cynthia.
Like I said, I have to be paid. I've been on a show where I made somebody help them made $17 million, and they've never even reached out to me to ask me if I need a bar of dope in jail.
Wow, you haven't heard from her either, huh?
Ever. All the shit that I've done for that woman, never, ever. If she ain't shit.
Peter claimed that he helped Cynthia make $17 million, or I don't know the dollar amount. I couldn't make out what he was saying because he's in jail. I'd like to understand where exactly did Peter help Cynthia make $17 million? If anything, you owed her money at the end of your divorce and at the end of your marriage. And look, I'm never going to say that Peter was an integral part of Cynthia's storyline, but she was the housewife. She was on the show, okay? She was the one that had a name before you. And I said this before, when I was on Cynthia's podcast, I was like, I knew Cynthia before she was on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I remember Cynthia in magazines and on cover of magazines. So she was a recognizable face coming on there. We got to know more of her personality on the show and what she was dealing with when it comes to her relationship. I'm so glad that she didn't have children with you. She did right by having a child with Leon, because you see Leon and her have such an amicable, healthy, loving relationship and co-parenting relationship. Unfortunately, she still had these financial ties to you because of the marriage and the business intertwined that you guys had. Peter, shut up. Inmate Thomas, shut up. I don't understand why you're this way. And now I understand why everyone always wants to refer to you as Patricia, because you will always get yourselves involved in nonsense. Always get yourself involved in nonsense. Serve your time. Figure out what you're going to do in order to pay the $2.5+ million that you owe the government. Figure that part out. Guys, as always, I want to know your thoughts and opinion on this story. Peter Thomas says that Cynthia ain't ish, and we know really the truth is he's never been ish. Tamar Braxton wants an apology from the public for slamming her as a homewrecker for a relationship with Mendeecees from Love and Hip Hop, because Mendeecees recently came out and said that he isn't married and he's no longer with Yandy. So Tamar says that she's collecting apologies via Cash App. I hope you guys had a fantastic Christmas holiday or just a day off. Even if you don't celebrate, you just had a day off. I hope you guys had a fantastic holiday. So, of course, the celebs have not stopped with the mess. So this story has reignited again because, there was just so many things that came out from this. First, it all began with Tamar coming to social media talking about an accident that she had in her home, which turned into people speculating what could have happened to Tamar. Some people said nothing happened to Tamar. And then people were saying that Funky Dineva did something to Tamar. Then he came out and he was like, I don't know what happened to that lady. Then there was a whole speculation on, is something going on between Mendices and Tamar? Did Yandy yank her up and do something to her? And that's why she busted out her tooth and all this other stuff? There was so much speculation. And it didn't stop there, because then it turned into a beef between Tamar and Funky, which has not really ended, because it stopped a few weeks ago. Then it got reignited a couple of weeks ago. And then now here we are still talking about it, not trying to reignite it, just giving you the backstory. But one of the things that happened from the last time that Funky talked about this was he revealed more details, because he hinted, when the first back and forth happened between Tamar and him, he hinted at something happening between Tamar and Mendices. We also have to keep in mind, literally days after she came to the internet and talked about this accident, she also then released a trailer that included Mendices as her love interest. And we just said, wait a minute, Mendices is an actor? And then we said, okay, he's on Love and Hip Hop. So same thing, right? Maybe not a very good actor, but whatever. So I'm just giving you the background, but you can always go watch, because we had a good time covering this story over the last few weeks. You can go and get the full story. I just gave you a quick synopsis of why we are currently here. So in the conversation when Tamar was promoting this, she did talk about her relationship with Mendices, and she said she barely knows him. They're cool, but she barely knows him. We're going to revisit some of those clips, because I think that's necessary. But the reason why we're even talking about it, because you may have seen over the holidays that Mendices was doing an interview and revealed that he and Yandy are no longer together and that they were never married. Because there's always been this speculation. Some people have said Yandy has said that they never actually got legally married. I don't watch Love and Hip Hop anymore. I haven't watched since they were still here in New York, Yandy and Mendices, okay? Every time I did a story about them in covering this story, I would say, are they even married? But we didn't know that, first of all, that they weren't married, but also that they currently are not together. So he said it. Let me just play it for you, and then we could weigh in.
A lot of people don't really know how to take, the rumors that were starting to circulate about you in the streets, because it was like, dang, if she held him down.
So even if me and Yandy decide to break up, it's no one's business but our household. Right? So if you see me acting inappropriate, it's appropriate for me. It's maybe not for you, because I'm sorry you wasn't in the group chat when we decided that we won't do that. You know what I'm saying?
I always find that funny when reality TV stars ask for privacy or be like, you guys weren't in the group chat. You're on a reality show, shucking and jiving for Mona Scott Young. And all of a sudden, when people speculate, wait a second, are you cheating? Because it's one thing to be in your comment section, but it's another thing for the internet to speculate on what could be happening in your relationship when you are on a whole reality show that people watch that benefit you. This is how you make your money. I'm not saying you have to share everything and anything on these reality shows, even though you guys do, for a check. And I don't know how much of that is even real. But I do find it interesting. I'm sorry that you guys weren't in the group chat and all this speculation. Well, you're going to get the fever when people think that you're in a relationship with Yandy. This is part of the reason why I don't blame when people get mad at people for releasing a statement about them no longer being together. Is to avoid the speculation that if you see me out with someone else, please understand I'm no longer with this person. So I'm not one of those people that get mad at celebrity or reality TV personalities coming to the internet to release a statement, I am no longer with this particular person. So if you see me out, and then, mind you, when we talk about this with celebrities that don't actually make money off of their personal story and their real life, we'll put quotes in real life. Let's continue to what he had to say.
I'm sorry you was in our bedroom when we had this conversation, and and that's the problem, because a lot of times these rumors, we so private that we sit back and we laugh at it. And it doesn't affect us like the way it affects the public. People be like, oh, y'all should be more transparent and let us know.
Ain't your business.
Yeah, we gotta figure out how to let our children know.
Right,
That's very responsible. What's the status of you and Yandy right now?
Are we not together?
Y'all not together.
No, we're not together.
So y'all getting a divorce?
Well, we never was like legally married, so I don't know what a divorce. Like.
So the rumors are true that.
It's important to pay attention to the body language and the stuttering. We were never legally married. We were never legally married. That's all you have to say. So that makes me believe that you guys weren't 100% clear on this reality show whether or not you were married or not married. Because just the body language of it all, the hesitation and how you say it of it all. And honestly, it probably was very smart of Yandy not to tie herself up legally with this man.
Y'all just did it for TV.
Listen, I didn't do it for TV. I think listen, it was Yandy's idea, right? Because in the beginning we had I was going through legal battles with courts and fines, and she said, let's not sign the papers. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I guess it kind of just stayed that way. Then we got married again, and then we still ain't.
That's the part I don't understand. You guys got married again and you still did not do it legally. But you made sure you got a check. This is why I find it so interesting. Well, just because you guys were in the group chat and we're just so damn private. You're not that private. You're on a whole reality show about your life and getting fake married on reality TV. But okay, fine. You like it, we love it for you. Let's wrap this up. So we now know Yandy and Mendices are no longer together, and they were never legally married. But they still have to co-parent. They do have children together. Fine. Back to the question at hand. So he did that interview this week, and then Tamar took to her Instagram story not too long ago. Took to her Instagram story and says, I'm accepting apologies through my Cash App. The F. Then she says, please pay by the following. If you called me, quote, 1, a liar, $10. 2, a homewrecker, $20. 3, a hoe, $20. 4, a slut, $30. Accept the fact that y'all fell for the bull-ish and run me the F up. Here's the thing, though, Tamar. First of all, I never called you a homewrecker, I never called you a hoe, and I never called you a slut. I may have called you a liar, but I had proof. I had proof. Because literally, let me show you what she said when she did this interview with L'Oreal. And she chooses her words very wisely here. Okay?
Putting you two together. Do you and Mendices have anything beyond this film? Or?
No, to be honest, I barely even know him.
Okay.
to be honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not we're cool, but he's not my homie. You know what I mean? It's not like that.
But according to Funky Dineva, you were in his lap, smooching him down. According to Funky Dineva. Then you even threatened Funky Dineva, saying that Funky was lying. You even threatened him legally. And then when he read you for filth in regards to that, this is a saga, y'all. When he read you down for filth for that, you took that legal letter down. You even had Bang a Yang Yang Man reaching out to Funky, like, if you need support, I can help you. Yeah, Bang a Yang Yang Man. Okay, for those that don't know, you might be new here. Bang a Yang Yang Man was the white guy that he's a lawyer that she met on that reality show, Queen's Court. And they ended up getting married, and we found out they got married after the fact, after they got their divorce. Yeah. A lot has happened. I'm impressed that this elephant brain, remembers all these details. But we're not done. Let me show you what Funky said the last time when he addressed this issue.
Finna move on to a story that is, baby, you didn't throw no party for me. If anything, you threw a pre-party for Mendices. Because he the one who went back upstairs with you. That lady husband. And see, y'all be around here in these blogs and thinking y'all be knowing what y'all be talking about. Folks be eating me up. And I just be sitting there. If only y'all knew. He's such a bad friend. If she was drunk, why he didn't go upstairs with her? That just want to be around her. He just want to be around her because of XYZ. A real friend would have went upstairs. Well, I didn't need to go upstairs with her because that lady husband went upstairs with her. You absolutely right. A real friend would have went upstairs. Her real friend went upstairs with her. Hold on one second. This is my auntie nursing home.
So you guys were more than just cool. So for anyone that called you a liar, a homewrecker, a hoe, a slut, look, I didn't know what the dynamic of your relationship with Mendices was. I wasn't running with that narrative because we also didn't know the status of Mendices and Yandy's relationship and also whether or not they were married. However, it just also was a very interesting timing because on the current season of the Braxtons, Tawanda accused you, Tamar, because I know you watch, hey Tamar, accused you of sleeping with Tony's then boyfriend years ago. So the timing of everything that played out was just very interesting. So for those of you that were even thinking like, oh, well, I owe Tamar an apology. No, you don't. Because she picks and chooses how much truth she wants to give you in any given story. But I'm sure she's so happy to be in the headlines today. Hence why she decided to go to social media, because she feels vindication. You're not vindicated, lady. You're not vindicated. Tyler Perry is not going to have a very good Christmas or New Year because he's now been struck with another lawsuit accusing him of sexual harassment and assault by a former actor from his Madea Halloween movie. And the actor is asking for $77 million. Guys, don't forget the Kempire After Dark, a live show, is returning to New York City. One night, one show, one mic, me. March 13th at the Green Room 42, we're returning. There is, of course, in-person ticket, but also a meet and greet ticket. But also, if you are somewhere in another part of the world, you have a live stream ticket available so anyone can watch. It's a night of spilling tea. You never know what is going to be spilled or who's going to spill it. Get your tickets today. Ticket information will be available in the description. So I'm minding my business on this Kwanzaa, happy Kwanzaa. After doing a little shopping, I look at my phone and I see Tyler Perry sued again, but this time for $77 million. So if you missed it, we've already covered a few different lawsuits in regards to what Tyler Perry is going through. But the most recent lawsuit is from Derek Dixon, a former actor from one of his multiple shows. But we went through all the details of that. Derek Dixon apparently has worked on multiple episodes, has been in multiple situations with Tyler Perry. So now this new lawsuit is claiming that similar accusations. Look, could this be a money grab? Very possible, but we still have to talk about it. Because, according to People magazine, Tyler Perry is facing another sexual assault lawsuit from an aspiring actor that his lawyers are calling a, quote, money grab. So now Tyler Perry's lawyers are immediately responding to this. So Mario Rodriguez, who I saw his picture and I said to myself, he looks familiar. So he's probably one of those social media models that you've probably seen, but apparently he had a small feature in the Madea Halloween movie. So Mario Rodriguez, a model who landed a minor role in Perry's 2016 movie, Boo, A Madea Halloween, alleges in a new lawsuit that Perry sexually assaulted him and made unwanted sexual advances while promising him roles. Rodriguez is seeking $77 million in damages. Rodriguez is being represented by attorney Jonathan Dilshad, who also represented Derek Dixon, another actor who made similar allegations against Perry, who's 56, earlier this year. So that's not unusual. We've seen this before. We've seen it very recently with the Diddy lawsuit where the attorney represents one person and then there are other victims that start reaching out to that attorney and seeing if they'll take their case. So that's not unusual. Alex Spiro, an attorney for Perry, you know who Alex Spiro is? Yes. Alex Spiro has represented Jay-Z recently, and then he represented another celebrity. I can't remember who it was. Just so many celebrities in these lawsuits. So Alex Spiro, an attorney for Perry, says in a statement on December 26th, today, Having recently failed another matter against Mr. Perry, the very same lawyer has now made yet another demand from more than a decade ago, which will also be a failed money grab. However, Dalshad says that Dixon's claims are alive and well, and none of them have failed. They were just moved to a different court. So that was the last update that we haven't been able to get to you guys. So as the case is relocated from California to Georgia, because that's apparently where Derek Dixon says that these instances with Tyler Perry happen. Remember with the Derek Dixon story, for those that don't remember, he accused Tyler Perry of sexual harassment, but also SA. And he said that there were periods of, first of all, physical touch, but also where he felt as if Tyler was using his position of power over him as the employer. So there are a lot of different elements and a lot of things. We even did a special podcast episode and a video version where we go through that entire lawsuit and we go through some of the text messages that Tyler allegedly sent to Derek. Tyler, I don't know. I haven't seen any update in regards to whether or not he denies the text messages, because the text messages, if real, would be inappropriate. I'm not saying that they warrant the hundreds of millions of dollars that he's asking for or a lawsuit in general, but those messages from your employer would still be deemed inappropriate in my eyes. Remember one of those text messages, he referred to himself as a stud to Derek Dixon? Okay. Go check out that other video. It's just way too much to go over in this one. I'll link it. I'll also link it here. As I said to you before, Alex Spiro released that statement saying that this is just a money grab. Okay, and it's from the same attorney. So in the lawsuit obtained by People, Rodriguez claims in 2015, he was approached by a trainer while at the Los Angeles gym who said Perry wanted to meet him. Rodriguez said that Perry soon spoke to him over the phone and offered him a small role in the Madea Halloween film. He went on to play frat guy number 10 in the movie. The complaint alleges that multiple instances when Perry would invite Rodriguez over to his home under the guise of discussing future work projects, only to make sexual advances while drinking. Sound familiar? Very similar accusations that Derek Dixon made. Here's the other thing. If I can play devil's advocate for a second. When a lawsuit like this comes out, look, we did a video and we talked about everything that was in the lawsuit. A person can watch that video and say, well, you know what? I've been in the same room as Tyler Perry. I've been to after parties and things like that. I can make up my own story. Not saying that he is. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So the complaint alleges that multiple instances when Perry would invite Rodriguez over to his home under the guise of discussing future work projects, only to make sexual advances while drinking. In November of 2018, Perry allegedly grabbed Rodriguez's private part, and Rodriguez repeatedly told Mr. Perry to stop. And Rodriguez had to physically struggle to get away. He says that repeatedly told Mr. Perry to stop, and Rodriguez had to, quote, physically struggle to get away. Perry allegedly would tell Rodriguez to let it happen. And if you were to just be with me, I would take care of you.
Hell no.
Rodriguez's lawsuit claims that after 2 incidents, Perry allegedly apologized, handed him $5,000, and sent him away. It makes me wonder if there are more allegations like this in Hollywood. And the only reason why some of these actors, let me just play devil's advocate on the other side of this. And I've said this before, and it makes me wonder if these allegations are true, the reason why some of these other actors do not come forward, because again, in Hollywood, especially for minority actors, black actors, everyone praises Tyler Perry for always paying actors, paying them more than any other studio. It makes me wonder if some of these actors will not come forward because he keeps them employed while they were struggling before. That's the crazy part of this situation. That's the crazy part of entertainment and why people stay quiet. So at a final alleged encounter in April of 2019, so apparently it was more than ever before, it was clear that Mr. Perry would do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, to whomever he wanted, no matter how many times he was rejected, the court doc said. The lawsuit claims that Perry would, quote, randomly reach out to Rodriguez through 2024. So there must be text messages. I haven't seen the lawsuit myself. There will be a follow-up video once I see the lawsuit and if the text messages are in there. So they said the lawsuit claims that Perry would, quote, randomly reach out to Rodriguez through 2024. And when Perry became aware that Rodriguez was going to file this action, Perry once again reached out to Rodriguez by text, telling him he did so much to help Rodriguez. Did he? He was frat boy number 10. But okay, he didn't even have a speaking role. Derek Dixon got more than that. He said that he did so much to help Rodriguez and he was feeling betrayed. In a December 13th Instagram video, Rodriguez spoke about feeling scared and ashamed, explaining why he hadn't previously came forward, though he did not mention Perry by name in the post, just a powerful director that everybody knows. He continues, I stayed quiet for too long, and I just want to say I'm really sorry, man, because if I would have spoken up sooner, I could have saved somebody that is probably happened to after me. He says at one point to his nearly 1 million followers in the clip, I just want to say sorry for that, whoever that may be. It could have stopped with me if I would have said something, but I'm speaking up now. Dixon, who starred in Perry's TV series The Oval, filed a $260 million lawsuit against Perry in June, alleging sexual harassment, assault, and retaliation, which the filmmaker denies. In September, one of Perry's lawyers, Matthew Boyd, claimed Dixon is an individual who got close to Tyler Perry for what now appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam. He added at the time, Tyler will not be shaken down, and we are confident that these fabricated claims of harassment will fail. Let's take a listen to the post that Mario posted to his 1 million followers, and where he didn't name Tyler Perry, but this was back in early December, like a couple of weeks ago.
Just checking in with you guys about the news that I mentioned a couple days ago. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about sexual assault and harassment and why the people stay silent. For a long time, guys, I didn't want to say anything, and I wanted to tell you guys why I didn't want to say anything. But when it happened to me, I felt ashamed. I was scared because of the judgment and the questions that people were going to start asking, almost like they were going to blame me for just being there. Well, I felt all of that, guys, when a very big director, a very seriously powerful person that everybody knows, invited me over to his house to talk about roles and upcoming things that he was writing. I was telling myself, like, man, like all of my dreams are coming true right now. Like my opportunities at my front door right now. So much excitement going through my body. And then, guys, it happens. You know, my boundaries were crossed. You feel like this person feels like they got power over you because of the situation and the opportunity that presented itself in front of you. And then and how fear can somewhat keep you quiet and keep you silent. Well, I stayed quiet for much too long, and I just want to say I'm really sorry, man, because if I would have spoken up sooner, I could have saved somebody that this probably happened to after me. I just want to say sorry for that, whoever that may be. It could have stopped with me if I would have said something, but I do apologize, and I'm speaking up now and getting it out there and talking about it, most importantly, then so be it. And I just want to apologize once again, guys, because I'm sorry I can't really talk about more than what I've talked about right now. But I will be giving you guys an update very soon about the whole situation that happened in detail. So stay tuned.
So here's the thing. I don't know if that video does him any justice, but at the end of the day, what they do in court is going to matter more than that video. The video just felt a little heavily edited. If you watched it, just the cuts were very sharp. So it was sort of like, what did you say unedited? But again, not everyone can, especially if you've been essayed or sexually harassed, not everyone's going to be, not everyone is able to speak eloquently about that experience, but just that the edit. I'm here to be fair, point out both sides of the situation. But this is a second lawsuit against Tyler Perry, accusing him of sexual harassment. We talked about in a separate video, another person within the Tyler Perry camp and studio that was accused of similar accusations. If you missed any of that and you're not subscribed to the channel, you're missing out. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to turn on your notifications because you just never know. Breaking news, even during the holidays, is happening.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.